Hey there everyone, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. So we're going to be discussing the most divisive property in all of movie fandom, that's correct, Star Wars, and we're going to be discussing comments from the director of the upcoming Rey Star Wars movie that already has some fans upset. But before we get to that, if you are new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of the movie news we have going on this channel. But with that down, we're going to jump into this article from cosmicbook.news. Shamim Obaid-Chinoy says it's about time a woman shaped Star Wars. So, director of the new Rey movie, set after the events of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, as Rey builds a new Jedi Order. So, with what's happened with Star Wars in recent years, the last two movies that came out really divided the fan base. A lot of people really hated the last two movies, and it added that divisive nature into the fan base even more than what was there beforehand. And it looks like these comments from the director of the upcoming Rey movie have added to that divisive nature in the fan base with her comments about women shaping Star Wars. So let's jump into this article and keep reading and see what we can learn about these comments and what's going on with the Star Wars franchise. So, despite the president of Lucasfilm being a woman, new Star Wars director Shamim Obaid-Chinoy says it's about time a woman shaped Star Wars. So, Shamim Obaid-Chinoy is directing the new Rey movie starring Daisy Ridley that was first announced at Star Wars Celebration Europe in April. The film is said to be set after the events of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, as Rey builds a new Jedi Order. Yeah, I know a lot of people have written off Rey as a character when it comes to Star Wars due to the last two films not being very good and not well received by the fan base, but for me myself, I thought the Rey character was very interesting. I actually liked her, but it's just a shame that she was put into bad movies. I'm willing to give her another try if they can rewrite the character, if they can make something compelling, a good script, a good plot, then I'm willing to give the Rey character another chance, and I think you guys should as well. So, the director said, "I'm very thrilled about the project because I feel that we're about to create something very special," Obaid-Chinoy told CNN. "We're in 2024 now, and it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far away." So what I think her comments are actually referring to, they're referring to a woman director on a Star Wars movie. Obviously, there's a lot of women who already partake in the Star Wars universe, you know, showrunners, writers, and things like that. But I think she's talking specifically about a female director on a Star Wars movie. And I think that's where a lot of confusion in the fan base has come from, and a lot of people are angry about these comments as well. But let's keep reading. So, at least 3 Star Wars movies on the way. Yeah, this is another thing about Star Wars recently. It's hard to get excited about Star Wars projects because it seems at the moment that so many Star Wars projects are being announced and then just falling by the wayside. We hear about something being announced and then kind of like, you know, we get hyped for that announcement and then all of a sudden it's just like a lot of nothing burger. Like nothing happens, nothing seems to be yet and developed, and nothing seems to come of it. So it's hard to kind of be excited for new Star Wars projects. I'm kind of taking this mentality now where it's like, I believe it when I see it. If I see a poster or a trailer, then great, I'll start getting excited. But until that point, I'm not going to be excited when I hear about a new Star Wars project being announced. So we have at least 3 Star Wars movies on the way. So Shamim Obaid-Chinoy probably means the first woman Star Wars movie director as again. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So she's probably referring to her being a Star Wars movie director rather than, you know, talking about just females working on Star Wars in general. So Kathleen Kennedy has been at the helm of Star Wars since Disney bought Lucasfilm nearly 12 years ago. Again, that's added to the divisive nature of the Star Wars fandom. A lot of people really hate Kathleen Kennedy and wanted her, you know, out of Lucasfilm years ago. A lot of people really love her being there. That's added to the divisive nature of the fan base. That's one of the sticking points for sure. So there is also the fact that Deborah Chow directed all episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and female directors have directed episodes of The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. The Acolyte has Leslie Headland as the director and showrunner as well. Of course, George Lucas's wife, Marissa, I'm not sure how you say that, Marissa? I'm going to call her Marissa. So of course, George Lucas's wife, Marissa Lucas, also edited the original trilogy, who slammed the Disney movies. So, the Rey movie doesn't have a release date. Star Wars Celebration Europe in April also saw the announcements for the Dave Filoni movie, the James Mangold movie, the Taika Waititi has also been working on a flick for the past 3 years. Yeah, this is what I mean. It seems like there's so many projects being announced, but then just nothing happens. And it kind of just goes quiet, it goes radio silence, and we're kind of left thinking, you know, are these projects still in the works? Have they been cancelled? We don't really know what's going on. So it's hard to get excited until we actually see a trailer, or we see, you know, we see a project sort of come to fruition in a poster, or, you know, something like that. It's hard to get excited about all these projects being announced. From my point of view, you guys may feel different. So it's also been claimed that the Mandalorian, if I can say this right, it's also been claimed that the Mandalorian Season 4 will instead become a movie instead of another season at Disney+. A lot of people were really confused when they heard that announcement that the Mandalorian movie is coming, because obviously Season 3 wasn't very well received whatsoever when it comes to the first and second season. So it's kind of like, well, if the Mandalorian Season 3 wasn't well received and people didn't like it, is it a really good idea to then turn it into a feature-length movie? I'm not sure how you guys feel about that, but for me, I'm kind of like, can the Mandalorian really kind of helm his own movie? Would it be popular enough to actually, you know, make a profit when it comes to a feature-length movie? I'm not really sure the Mandalorian can support his own movie. Let me know what you think about that. So none of the films have release dates. Exactly. That's why it's hard to get excited about a project. You know, you hear it announced, but there's no release date. So we're kind of like, well, if there isn't a release date, then it's not actually officially coming out at any point. So it's hard to get excited about it. None of these films has release dates, but Disney has untitled release dates for 3 Star Wars movies: May 22nd, 2026, December 18th, 2026, and December 17th, 2027. Yeah, also as a side note as well, you know, as I say, the last 2 films were so divisive amongst the fan base when it comes to Star Wars that if they put out another Star Wars movie and it's just as divisive as what the last 2 movies have been, then the Star Wars franchise, man, it's going to be in trouble for a long time, I tell you. Especially with what's happened on Disney Plus as well. You know, The Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian Season 3, Ahsoka. All of these shows weren't that well received amongst the fan base, and it's more divisive than it ever has been. But guys, what we're going to do, we're going to read a few comments from the online community and just see what people are saying about this before we finish off the video. So let's have a quick read of some of these comments and see what some of the online community are saying. So, is anyone going to tell her women have been telling Star Wars since day one? For fuck's sake, most people are making decisions at Lucasfilm are women. You are basically just confirming this will be the same BS we've been getting. Yeah, you see what I mean? So a lot of people are very much against the comments that the director was making about women running Star Wars. A lot of people are not happy about it. The movie is going to be a massive bomb, and you'll be told by the talking heads and simps that you are the problem. Oh, and you're toxic. Lather, rinse, and repeat. Yeah, so a lot of people were kind of turned off to Star Wars and the fact that just because they didn't like a movie, they were being labeled toxic. And, you know, this is one of the sticking points as to what happened with the last couple of films. You know, people were just being labeled toxic for not liking a movie. And people were getting caught up in that kind of divisive nature of the fan base. And it was just such a mess. It was just crazy. I'm assuming she means as director. It is the first time a woman has directed a Star Wars film after all. Yeah, I'm absolutely for it. I mean, the last few movies haven't worked. They've been directed by male directors. So maybe a female director can come in and switch it up and maybe, you know, make a great movie. I don't really care, to be honest, the sex of the director. I really honestly don't care. Whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, you know, whether it's a mermaid, whether it's a monkey, I don't really care. I don't really care. As long as it's a competent filmmaker who can have a good plot and a good load of characters and, you know, an actual compelling story, then I honestly don't give a damn who directs this movie. But a lot of people seem to care whether it's male or female, and it seems to be a sticking point in the fan base. It will be lucky to make Solo numbers. Obviously, what? Solo went on to make what? 300 million? Something like that, if I'm not right. If I'm correct. So I get that, but it's pretty irrelevant considering what women have already done. So, Marcia Lucas was so involved with the original trilogy. Literally the only one above her was George himself. Kathleen Kennedy has been the president of Lucasfilm for the entire time Disney has owned it. We've had female showrunners, which is basically the equivalent of a director for a TV show. Yeah, that's correct. Women have produced the films, edited the films, directed the shows, starred in every facet of the franchise. That's absolutely correct. This is just a weak attempt to get a first for the film since the quality will be non-existent. So what this person is saying is they're going to be banking on the fact it's the first female director for a Star Wars movie, rather than focusing on the quality of the movie. All the marketing is going to surround, oh, this is a Star Wars movie having a first female director. And they're going to focus more on that rather than the actual quality, because the quality is probably not going to be there. That's what this person's saying. And I know it's a good point. That could possibly be the point. and we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it is a good movie, because as I say, the Rey character deserves to be in a good movie, and written into a compelling story, I feel. So we'll read a few more, guys, and we'll finish off the video. So what she's saying isn't irrelevant. I'm sure very relevant for her and for other female directors in Hollywood. It's probably a very big deal for her to get that she gets to be the first woman to direct a Star Wars film. Whether the other female created content rocks or sucks, she's still proud of the fact that she gets to be the first female director on a Star Wars film. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of something to celebrate in it of itself. As I say, the last 2 movies were directed by males, so or men, whichever term you want to use. And maybe a female coming in can be the change and the fresh perspective that the franchise needs. We never know. But as I say, I don't care of the sex of the person who's directing the movie, as long as it's a good movie. That's all I care about. In a genre that's typically dominated by men, I can only imagine how good it must feel as a woman to get the opportunity she's getting. So whether there has been women behind Star Wars or not, she is the first to direct the film, and that's a big moment for her. She'd very much be allowed to be proud of it. Yeah, so that's another side of the story. A lot of people are saying that, Lucasfilm is going to focus more on the fact that it's a movie directed by a female in the marketing, and they're going to upplay that rather than the quality of the actual movie itself. But then this person saying, as a woman, she's the first woman to direct a Star Wars feature-length movie. So, she's completely entitled to be proud of that fact, when it's been mostly dominated by men directing the movies. So I get it from both perspectives. Self-fulfilling prophecy, an easy one to make. You watch the headlines and we'll be like, the Marvels, it'll flop, but we're seeing the biggest box office opening for a female-directed Star Wars movie. This changes nothing. She's another hired hand for Disney, morons. This will only make it worse because of the neckbeards. What? And if this is the logic, which is why Disney Star Wars is in the state it's in. So I'll finish off there, guys, because obviously it's just a lot of people are sort of arguing this point back and forth. But yeah, as I say, when it comes to Star Wars, the smallest details are very divisive amongst the fan base. And it seems like, the comments from this director about women directing Star Wars movies has once again divided the fan base, which is a very easy thing to do when it comes to Star Wars. But guys, jump into the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Do you agree with the comments that, it's just silly that people are arguing about this? No, scrap that. Just jump into the comment section. Let me know what you think about these comments in general, about women kind of, having directing Star Wars properties. And do you think it's right to be divisive amongst the fan base? Or are you more like me, where you don't really care who directs a Star Wars movie as long as it's a good movie? So guys, can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.